Hello, I am Dr. Saurabh Patwardhan from Nandadip Eye Hospital, Sangli, India. And in this video, I'll be speaking about a hypermature cataract of Morgagnian type. And what's interesting is it is operated by a young surgeon. And there is something interesting happening behind the posterior capsule, so we'll have a look at it. This is a long video. I have edited it minimally because I want to also discuss the way the surgeon approaches a case, and not every step might be perfect. When you are young, you are inexperienced, and when you watch the video again, you will realize what things you could have done differently. So here is a Morgagnian cataract. The surgeon has used a good viscoelastic agent, Hylucoat, which is similar to Viscoat, and once this first nick is given from the side port incision using a cystitome, you can see the milky fluid starts coming out. This is not an intumescent one, but rather a shrunken nucleus is there inside, and the milky fluid will keep coming out, and you can just aspirate it out. It disturbs the visualization of the capsule. So once the fluid is out, then again OVD is placed over the anterior capsule to make it little flatter. And the issue here is that the nucleus may not support the capsular rhexis. So many times when you start moving the flap, if the nucleus behind also turns, and sometimes the nucleus is of smaller size, so you may land up in a place where there is no nucleus support, and then you get stuck because the capsular rhexis doesn't go forward. In this case, luckily the nucleus appears to be bigger size, so it is giving adequate support from behind for the anterior capsule. But being a young surgeon, is going very slowly, and that's what one should do. With experience, the surgeon becomes quicker, but initially you have to always go gradual. Keep watch, keep observing everything which is going on in the anterior chamber. And now what you can see here is that the nucleus has shifted little bit on the one side, and that's the reason why he is getting difficulty in forwarding the rhexis. Here a good idea could have been using a capsule rhexis forceps and using the tearing maneuver like this, the holding the flap and going tangentially. Remember, in Morgagnian cataracts, don't pull it radially because many times the zonules are a bit weak, and you may have extension of rhexis, or even the zonules may break. But here with cystitome, the surgeon is able to proceed now and complete the capsular rhexis. Capsular rhexis is little bit of on the smaller side. I might have increased it by 1 millimeter because I don't want any stretch on the bag when I am manipulating the nucleus inside the bag. But nonetheless, the surgeon has started the surgery now onto the phaco. Now the main issue with Morgagnian cataracts, as you know, is that it starts moving around in the bag because it's much smaller than the size of the bag, and there is no epinucleus or cortex to hold it at its place. So the best technique for this is to go bury and do a horizontal chop. Of course you can do vertical chop with sharp chopper as well. And here the surgeon is trying to do trench, but as you can notice here that the nucleus starts moving when the trenching starts. Here I use a different kind of trenching sometimes, and now this is what should be done. Very nicely he is doing, buried the tip, but I am not very happy with the length of the tip which is buried. I think the surgeon should bury more. The hold is not that good, but still the surgeon is able to crack the nucleus partially, I would say. So I was talking about the trenching. Here the other way to do trench is a vertical trench. So what I do in case I have difficulty in doing horizontal chops is that I try to dig a hole at place and then go ahead dig a hole at place in front of that, something like that. I will show it in some other video, but here again the surgeon is trying to do horizontal chop. The left hand has a 1 mm Sinskey. Again the issue here is the bury. I think the tip is not getting buried properly inside the nucleus, and what I can see here is that the surgeon is little bit struggling with the burying the tip and not burying deep enough. So at this point I would go even deeper with the tip so as to get the good hold and go around the nucleus with my Sinskey. But here he is trying a vertical chop, but as you can see the hold is not good, so the nucleus rotates as the surgeon tries to chop, and once this happens there is no point in keep on trying to chop it. Just leave it, you go and bury the into the nucleus deeper. Yeah, this looks little bit better, I would say. Yeah, go in more, but again I think yeah, again the nucleus starts rotating. So that's the issue when we try vertical chops at times. Of course here the surgeon is successful again partially, but you can see that the surgeon had to push the nucleus down against the posterior capsule, so which I would like to avoid. And now you can see little bit of tremors in the hand, so I think that's the inexperience which shows, and yeah, all of us go through it. Tell me how you get over this anxiety, because when we have a tough situation in hand, many surgeons have these tremors. That's because of the adrenaline rush inside the body of the surgeon, and the mind is anxious now. Even the most experienced surgeons may feel this anxiety, but they slowly start overcoming it. And here now the surgeon has started fresh again, put in the visco again and then started. So tried again going back to the trench and divide. Okay, falling back to a technique of trench and divide, and buried little more into the nucleus, weakening the central part of the nucleus. And here I would have buried right there. Yes, that's what the surgeon is doing now, going right there, and now that's the good grip, and you can see the Sinskey going over the equator of this nucleus and then chopping, crushing it right in between the phaco tip and the Sinskey. That's the best way to do the horizontal chops. You can use even the longer horizontal choppers like the ball tip choppers, and that should work great. But here the surgeon has chosen the 1 mm Sinskey, which also does a good job. You can also modify this Sinskey little bit. You can see it in my hybrid Patwardhan chopper, that's what I call it. So I bend it twice, and that makes it very useful to hook around the equator of the nucleus. So surgeon very patiently keeps continuing chopping, and the point I would like to for you to observe here is that the surgeon is not pushing the nucleus down anytime, and that's a great thing that this surgeon is showing, that though occasionally the posterior capsule is being pushed, but most of the times you can see that once the tip is buried, the surgeon is holding the nucleus at the iris plane and then chopping, and that's the great technique to show. Once you stop pushing the nucleus around, you know that the chances of zonular dehiscence, chances of posterior capsular rupture go down. And now we have started the quadrant removal. You can see the vacuum has increased, the Bottle-height is high, and that keeps the posterior capsule back, and the first piece is gone. Here again the visco is replenished, because we know we are into quadrant removal. These are loose pieces, these are hard pieces, they are going to fly around. So the surgeon has rotated all those pieces in front of the phaco tip now, and started the quadrant removal. For these hard cases I generally use longitudinal as well as torsional power, and you can see just that the pupil has started becoming smaller here. But is this a pupillary snap sign? You can see the pupil is slowly going down here, but it's not pupillary snap. It's just the nucleus, you can see it's irritating the iris, and that's why the pupil went down. In pupillary snap there is usually constriction and dilatation of the pupil, so of course you have to watch out for that closely. So here the pupil constricted, but it's not a pupillary snap sign. So nicely chopped now. There are 3 pieces I think down there, and be well down so that it gets emulsified very quickly. There is no need to worry about posterior capsule here if you are using good fluidics. Here we are using 130 bottle height and 475 vacuum, which is very well balanced for this particular machine and these parameters. So I'm not worried about posterior capsule, but definitely for hypermature you have to be more on the safer side. So I would have reduced the vacuum further here, maybe 350 is enough, so that the anterior chamber is more stable. Now you can already see the posterior capsule. There is something whitish thing. It's not in front of the posterior capsule, it's behind. Okay, so let's now focus on the quadrant removal. So slowly the surgeon is taking out one piece at a time. Very well done. And we have to worried about the flying pieces over here. Of course we have covered the endothelium with Hylucoat, which has chondroitin as well, so it takes care of the endothelium well, but still make sure that not many pieces. So the surgeon is using the left hand to keep the piece down here as it gets emulsified, and as I again said, the surgeon used the same vacuum, but I might have reduced the vacuum for the last piece, but probably the surgeon is seeing the posterior capsule well and knows that the anterior chamber is stable. So now just checked with the retroillumination, there is no glow because there is these whitish exudates behind the posterior capsule, and this is sometimes we see with hypermature cataract like Morgagnian ones. And here what is happening, it tries to inject the hydrophilic IL, the finds that the trailing haptic is stuck, so it's not going forward, and immediately withdraw. So that's the right time to withdraw rather than putting in a damaged IOL. So loaded another IOL properly this time. You can watch my video of loading of hydrophilic IOL and inserted it in the anterior chamber here. Remember the capsule rhexis was little bit on smaller side as I mentioned. So as the surgeon pushes it with the visco cannula, the IOL is not going in the bag. So you can see the haptic is still jutting out, and that's because the capsule rhexis is little on smaller side. I might have enlarged the capsule rhexis as I said in the beginning, but I think the surgeon is going ahead with the IOL rotation here. And make sure that in case you are putting the IOL in the bag, the both haptics should be in the bag, because if the one haptic is in the sulcus and one haptic is in the bag, it is surely going to decenter, and as the capsule fibrosis, the anticapsule fibrosis, this will give rise to a lot of tilt and decentration, and the refractive outcome will not be great. Also, if patient comes later on where the capsule is fibrous, it's tough to put it back in the bag also at times, and you may have to explant and put another IOL in the sulcus. So to avoid that, make sure that both the haptics are in the bag and confirm it by withdrawing the iris on one side. See to it that the optic and the haptic is in the bag and not in the sulcus. So once you are sure, you can go ahead with the visco wash. If you are not sure, you can also put the iris hooks, retract the iris properly, look for the capsulorhexis margin, see the relation of optic with the capsulorhexis margin. Now here there is no glow, and that's the reason behind that is that those leak proteins which are there behind the posterior capsule. And do I need to do something about this? My experience is that they just vanish, they get absorbed once we remove the cataract, so there is no need to do a posterior capsulorhexis and take this fluid out. And you don't even need to do YAG laser or anything, it just dissipates. That's my experience. But of course, if at times you need to do it, you can do just YAG laser and it will dissipate, but most often not needed. So because these are just leak proteins from the Morgagnian cataract, just like you saw when the capsulorhexis incision was made, the fluid leaked out. Similarly, it leaked out in the posterior chamber, and it doesn't affect the visual acuity of the patient because it gets absorbed very quickly once we have removed the nucleus. So that was one interesting case. Do watch more cases. So this was a surgery done by a young colleague, and it gives more insights into thinking. So do submit your videos also to me so that we can think over it. We can have a commented, edited videos so that every one of us can learn from it. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel, and we have recently launched a very exciting website, a platform, phacotraining.org.in, and you submit your videos there, we will comment on it and present it to you. Thank you so much.